Alright guys, I'm at Massachusetts, United States. I'm going to do a bunch of random product reviews of things that my parents have purchased because I got nothing else to do. Anyways, this is a log splitter. It's called the Sunjoe brand. It's LJ10M, and I think this was purchased off Amazon for like $160. It's a hydraulic log splitter. So it seems to be a pretty good design. I looked it over already. Very strong. It's a little bit dented. It's been used already. So you got these good casters here. And so here's the handle, upper and lower handle. But it seems pretty easy to move around. If I had to guess, it feels like a heavy suitcase as far as moving it around. Lifting it up and down, I get the impression that it might be like 50 pounds. Okay, so there's a 15-ton hydraulic jack on this thing, and there's a large actuator and then a small piston actuator. You can literally see this is a small piston here, and this side a much thicker diameter big piston. So the big piston moves the thing further, whereas the little piston, you know, is going to have more pressure but not move it as much. Very much like a bicycle pump. This is the on-off valve. And then when you release it, there's two metal springs that pull the thing back. So it's very easy to reset the system. Okay. Let me put this on the ground here. There's a big rubber pad here to keep it from moving around. We have a big pile of old aged wood that we're going to split so we can put into a log fireplace later for the winter time. My dad said he hit a giant rock. That's why that thing's a little bit warped. But look at this giant steel, you know, tooth splitter. It's got to be at least a quarter inch thick steel. 6, maybe 7 millimeter steel there. Okay, so let's get a log on here. Let's go with this big guy here. You know what? I'm going to put it into a tripod here. But actually before that, it came with these two big steel levers. And you can put them into each of the piston actuators. Okay, and the angle, you can see it moves left, right. And so you can actually save a little time by holding both handles at the same time to move the piston even further. Alright, let's get this thing into the tripod. And hopefully you guys can pick up my audio. I got a 1 meter or 3 foot long mic extension. This is just like a cheap AliExpress microphone. It works pretty well. This thing was probably like $2 delivered, and it still picks up my heavy breathing, my Darth Vader breathing. So to save hydraulic time, you know, I just put in that big spacer, and I'm going to just start moving both levers at the same time. And once the nearer lever gets too difficult, I'm going to use the far lever, which is the high pressure but smaller distance. Actually, let me move this camera so it's near the blade. You can actually see it. Maybe that'll be better. Okay, both pistons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, starting. Okay, so this one's too difficult now. So I'm going to use just the high pressure, small distance one. And there it goes. Now I can go back to both. Okay, so now if I release this, 2 springs will suck it back. So I think that's a pretty cool machine. It's obviously a lot safer than using a hand axe, you know, an axe and a splitter blade. This is much safer. It still might be a good idea to wear safety glasses, or otherwise maybe some bark might fly into your face. But alright, having added that much wood, I've come to realize some criticisms to this design. So, the main problem I'm having here is this. The height of this hydraulic steel piece here, it's only like 5 inches tall. So that's fine if you're only splitting 5-inch thick pieces of wood. The thing is, most people aren't going to bother splitting a piece of wood 5 inches, right? This one is more like 10 inches. But you'll see, the thing is not tall enough. That's what I'm getting at. Ideally, this thing would have a steel plate just vertically, maybe 8 inches or 10 inches. But without it, you know, you definitely have to have the spacers, but I crushed one of these in half already. And now I'm working on this one here. See, it's already starting to split. This is pressure treated wood here. Then we made this one here. This is just some, you know, scrap pieces, but actually with a metal thing here. And so far this is holding up okay. But even still, with a taller piece of wood, sometimes the wood wants to basically raise up, you know. Ideally this thing would be taller so the thing would be flat instead of like the hydraulic press getting underneath it, and then it might want to move the thing upwards. So that's my one criticism for this. Granted, again, it's not super expensive, but ideally they may have, you know, if they just invested in this extra piece of wood, maybe the retail price is an extra $10, but it would increase its functionality, you know, 300% in my opinion. Using a bunch of these spacers is a pain. And you can't really use a brick because it's a 15-ton press. It'll probably break the brick in half. You would probably have to invest in a really high density wood. Concrete I think would crack as well. A rock maybe, if you could find a square shaped stone as a spacer. And so another issue, you know, with this design, you see here the teeth. You know, this thing was moving up here, and then the wood is getting destroyed by running into these steel plates. The problem is our fireplace can't take a piece of wood this long. So that's why all these logs are roughly like 1 foot long, so they can fit inside of a fireplace. An easy solution would be if this thing was more over here, so this hydraulic press could get further up. But I'm guessing it's here because the hydraulic press probably stops right here. But the spacer does not stop right there, right? So that's another thing that maybe could be designed better. Ideally, maybe if it costs like $20 or $30 more, this thing would come with a metal spacer, you know, that just slides on top of this hoop here, and it adds like, you know, that much length. You just slap on a steel spacer, and that would solve the problem. If the spacer was taller, of course. You know, because here's like what I imagine is an average size log. Maybe like 8-9 inches across. But yeah, you see again, this thing wasn't cut perpendicular, right? So this steel plate wants to force the log upwards, and then it might actually pop out. So some observations after splitting a whole bunch of these now. So can I recommend this? I don't know. If you're capable of making specific spacers for this, then yes, it seems to be pretty functional. But obviously I just discussed the main faults of it. So hopefully this will help you decide if you think you should buy this particular design. Alright, thanks for watching.